the right way this time. Because last week, I had a whole situation where I was talking to myself for a very long time. So let's see. Are we live? I think we are. Okay, we'll just do a little confirmation here. If we are live and you're just staring at my face going, what's going on? I'll be ready in like 1 second. Just confirming. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is a 2-part style of video. We are going to be reviewing this lovely book. Yay, we're live. We are going to be talking about this book, which is The Great Alone by Kristin Hannah. However, before we get into that, I want to talk about one of the themes of the book, which is loneliness, because I feel like that's a very universal topic that a lot of us feel day to day or have felt in our lives. So I think it'll be a really nice chat. So good morning, everyone. Hello. Okay, I'm just going to pop over to make sure I can see the conversation as it's rolling out. But how is everyone doing today? Happy Monday. Tell me, do you like Mondays? Because I love Mondays. I just feel like Sundays I am doing all of domestic things and chores, and it's really nice to just like have that all in the past and be sitting in like a nice relatively tidy home working. Okay, pulling up the comments here. All right, so no
find my next family sedan. Add strict.
Why? Wrong thing. Click the wrong button. I'll get there eventually. Okay. Oh no, Jess, you caught your kids cold. You know what? On, what's happening here? It's saying that the stream is bad. I hope you guys can hear me okay. We're going to see what we can do here. Oh, perfect. Here we go. Caught your kids cold. On Friday, Jack and I all of a sudden just started to get like the big congestion sniffles thing. And that was unpleasant. But you know what? I took a bunch of elderberry syrup and just tried to rest and drink a lot of water. And I'm feeling a lot better today. So that's really good. Good morning. Hey, Alex. Hey, Michelle. All right. Let's see what we're going to talk about. Okay. So for those of you trickling in, I'll mention it just one more time because for anyone watching the replay, we're like, we heard you. But we are going to be talking about this book, which is The Great Alone by Kristin Hannah. However, I appreciate that not everybody has read the book or has plans to read the book, so we're going to leave that to the second half of the video. But what we're going to talk about now is the theme that or a few of the themes that run through the whole book. It is called The Great Alone, so naturally, we are going to be talking about loneliness. And I feel like I can come from a place where I've personally experienced a lot of loneliness. Also, I broke a nail, so let's not look at that. But definitely I've experienced loneliness at various stages of life through childhood up to now. And I feel like there's a lot of conversation and memes and things around loneliness and how there is a very important part of loneliness that we should embrace. But then there's also the part where it starts to dip into unpleasant territory where it starts to become a problem. And so what are some things that we can do to like get out of that space? And I would love for you guys to share as we go with comments and things, and we'll just have a great chat. Cool? Cool. Okay, good. You guys can hear me and see me just fine. Fabulous. I do have a little one home today that I have to take to the clinic, so we'll see if she pops her head in. Okay, so the one, I feel like as a mom of 3, there are times of loneliness, even when I have 3 little ones tugging at me all day long. Absolutely. Let's just jump straight into it. So I agree. Like I was writing down different stages of life and what loneliness might look like at that point. And one of them for sure is when you have kids. I mean, you're not alone. Like you're never alone. My gosh, you don't even get to go to the bathroom alone. But you never get to just like think things through entirely. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like you get together with a friend, you're on a play date, you've got little babies. I mean, even now it's getting much easier. But you know, when Jack was just a tiny toddler, all of a sudden you can't finish sentences. Like you're sitting with your friend and I feel like we're going 900 miles a minute and I'm like, did anyone finish a thought entirely? Have we finished a sentence? Because in and amongst all of that, you're schlepping snacks, you're kissing bobos, like there's always something to do. You're changing diapers. So yeah, it's really hard. And, I find too, your partner comes home from work, if you have that kind of setup, and especially with Dean, poor guy, because he travels for work, and I just like have to hold back. I'm like, don't share everything all in one go. You've been alone and haven't spoken to an adult in several days. So I feel like it's going to come out like, like every single thought and feeling I've had in the last 72 hours, I'm about to share. So buckle up. Has anyone ever felt that? And you feel silly afterwards. You're just like, I should have held it together a little bit longer. I've gotten better. But also, if you have one of those moments, I think it's like, we just need to accept that your partner might need a little more from you. They might need you to just sit and listen. No solutions necessary. Just listen, because maybe they've been, dealing with a toddler for 3 days or a baby. So it can be very lonely. Brittany was asking, have we announced the next book? I can't miss it. I listened to this on Audible yesterday at double speed. Oh my goodness, Brittany. Okay, so here's the next one. I'm reading it right now. It's called My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. Have you heard of this book? Of course, they put the big sticker right on the title. But this book, by the way, I will talk about it more at the end, but it's very interesting. Like, this Elena Ferrante is not actually Elena Ferrante. Like, that's a fake name. Nobody knows who the author is. And this series of books, which apparently is now soon to be an HBO series, if not already, is had took over. Like, people lost their damn minds reading this series of books. It's all about like female friendships, and so we'll talk about this more later, but anyway, that's the next book. Back to the comments. Let's see, the one. Yes, my husband comes home from work and I am talking at him a mile a minute, telling him my grown-up thoughts. Exactly. I think that is totally normal. And I'm not about to sit here and tell you that those conversations always go well, because I've had many a time where Dean's just like, I've had my own day. Like, I don't need to hear all of your day before I can even get a second breath, So it's been a struggle trying to find that balance. I have to say, though, talking to you guys all day has definitely helped me find balance. And I mean, I know I've said this before, but I know you don't watch every single one of my videos or hear every speech I've ever given. But I started my channel because I was feeling very lonely and wanted to connect with women around the world on a similar journey. In fact, that's part of my bio. It's like, who is AmandaMuse and why does she do what she does? I literally started this because I was sitting in Malaysia with a 6-month-old baby. P.S. My dog is like right there eating her breakfast, of course. So if you hear a little crunching. But I was sitting in Malaysia with a 6-month-old baby, and I didn't have a lot of friends because, when you've lived in many different places or just like had to uproot, doesn't have to be to a different country, but you kind of need like that golden ticket to get you into the new friend group. Is it the new job when you meet new people? Is it a dog? So you're at like dog parks. Do you have a baby that you can bring to a play group at a library or something? Like, you kind of need something. And so when I first moved to Malaysia, it was just me, married. And so I didn't have a job. I didn't have any reason or opportunity to meet new people. And then when I did go to this like international women's expatriate type of group, I had no kids. It was like a really weird time to be in there. And I was like, okay, I'll take your number, and then I guess if I have a kid, I'll let you know. Like, it was really weird. So I remember sitting on the sofa and being like, I need to have people, and I need to feel connected to something, because we're not meant to roam the earth alone. And, if you go back to like cavemen days, we were in communities, we were in villages, and it's unnatural for us to just be alone all the time. It's okay, go ahead. So on that note, I'm going to come back to the comments for a moment here. Documented Journey was saying, I do that with my husband all the time. I explode all my day, and I need to remember to ask him how his day is too. Totally. I getting a phone call. Sorry, my phone rang in the middle of that. Jess was saying, yes, my husband is gone for 2 days at a time. And I'm sure she'll come back. But yeah, it's hard when you have, like you guys know, I have a similar setup. Dean's schedule is fluctuating. And so there are many times where I'm just by myself. And I feel like I have developed a confidence in myself to be able to just get it done. Like even on Insta stories today, I was saying to you guys, and almost a reminder to myself, like, hey, life happens. I have like a bunch of stuff on my to-do list today, but one of my priorities is the mom situ, and I have a little one that needs my attention. So that's going to be on top of my list, and some things might not make the cut today, and that's okay. And I'm not going to beat myself up about it because I am presently alone. You know what I mean? So various ways to deal with it. Let's see. O'Day was saying, as a past grad student and now freelancer, as well as mom of 2 with 1 special needs child, I often feel lonely, but this year I'm putting myself first to better take care of them. That is a very important point about parenting. Like, you guys know I used to be a flight attendant, and I always use that like visual kind of explanation where you have to put your own mask on first before you help the person beside you. You do. Like, if you don't have a cup to be filling other people's cup with, there's nothing in your cup, it's gonna be hard go. Like, it really is. And you may have noticed lately that I've been placing a huge emphasis on fitness and just making time for fitness and reading, you know, book clubs. The reason I'm working this into content is because it's like, I realize I need to prioritize like unfocusing time and just me time and times to just not be thinking about mom responsibilities and not be thinking about my to-do list and not be thinking about work stuff, like just being present, reading a book, you know? And I find that by doing that, I'm actually a better friend and a better partner and a better mom. So there is a lot of truth to what you're saying, O'Day. I wish you luck. The one, she goes, preach, I moved 3 hours away from my family and friends and find that the local people are very closed. I find that lonely because I'm not very outgoing. Oh, I feel you. That is something that I know you guys know me to be very outgoing, but I haven't always been, which is strange. So I feel like there's parts of personality in life that maybe you can actually work on to be better at, and perhaps being outgoing or just overcoming fear, because there is maybe this misconception that a person that's outgoing doesn't feel nervous about talking to new people or doesn't feel nervous about putting themselves out there. I feel nervous all the time. Ask Dean. He's always like, oh my God, you have like the nervous sweats going on. It's like, why are you sweating? And I'm like, I get nervous. I get nervous. But I know that if I stay in that nervous area, that, like you're saying, you're not feeling very outgoing to go and meet new people, nothing's going to change, you know? Like if I let fear decide for me, no way, because fear is boring. Fear has like no good things on the agenda. Boring. Nervous sweats, tummy aches, too many trips to the bathroom. Like, I don't like it. So I like to use that nervousness and that fear of like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen, propel me forward, despite how challenging I find it to be to push forward. We'll come back to that. Let's see, Alex was saying that I really like being alone normally. I find the worst loneliness I have ever felt in the past is when I'm surrounded by friends and realize I don't relate to these people at all anymore. I'm so glad you brought this up, Alex, because being alone, there's the positive side of it, which I definitely want to talk about today. I love being alone. I take great pride in calling myself a lone wolf. I will gladly, like, for example, last week I had a rough day on Thursday, and I went to the mall, cruised, got a London fog, because I love me a London fog, and just walked around the mall, and I bought myself a present. And like, I don't need to ask somebody if I should buy this, if this looks nice on me. I know what looks good. So I relish moments of alone time, listening to podcasts I like, putting my feet up, getting my own movie on, just going for a walk by myself. I love it. And I think it's so important to be okay with yourself in lonely times. Because if you find that you have a really hard time being alone, I encourage you to like go one level deeper and figure out like, what is it about that alone time that you don't like? Do you not like being alone with your thoughts? Do you not like the circle of like emotions that happen? Like, do you have a certain dialogue that plays in your head when you're by yourself? I've noticed, and I'm going to talk about that, but I've noticed times in my life where maybe my marriage is in a rough spot, or maybe I'm feeling super stressed out with work responsibilities, and I don't want to be alone with my thoughts because I start to like panic or get like very negative type of dialogue that's really not helping me come out of that darker place. And so I like to distract myself with podcasts and things. But when I notice that happening, it's like, even in those moments of distraction, I still find that there's like that little nagging voice that's like, you can't ignore me. You need to deal with this problem that's right here. So sometimes when we're distracting ourselves with a really crazy schedule or lots of, social commitments, you're not dealing with what's going on. And again, just dealing with it. Like, it's scary to sometimes deal with difficult things, but do the work because it's worth it in the end. Do you find that putting yourself first with working out and reading puts other things in life on the back burner? Yes. Or does it make you that much busier? Okay, it's twofold. Naturally, sorry, I can't sit still. Naturally, you can only do so much in a 24-hour period. So for example, without like going too deep about it, Monday through Friday, I do the mom thing and I do the work thing and I do the social media thing. That is the work thing, but not just the work behind the scenes, like editing and arranging sponsored things, but just being online, doing live videos, being on Instagram, posting photos, all that kind of stuff. That's where I allocate my time. Try to go to bed before midnight. Doesn't always work. On the weekends is when I do laundry and tidying and try to do that stuff and do something fun with my kids. So in the week, Dean and I have had many an argument because his schedule is not Monday to Friday, where he comes home and he's like, there's like 10 loads of laundry to do. I'm like, yeah, it's not happening till Saturday or Sunday because I'm not going to stress myself out about it. Like, I cannot do everything. I'm one person. And also he does laundry. So like, anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to fit into my schedule. So if I'm going to read, that means I'm not going to work till midnight. Like, I have to stop working by 11 because I need sleep. So it all like ebbs and flows for sure. And then does it make you that much busier? Here's the funny thing. I shared a quote on my Insta stories the other day, and I think it's Lucille Ball, I love Lucy, who said, I'll paraphrase here, but like, if you need something done, look for the busiest person in the room. Because I think as you start prioritizing your time and have a lot of things to do, there is no time for procrastination. And so you just get it done. There's no sitting around humming and hawing because you're like, I got 2 hours and I need 5 things done. So you go do it. On that note though, like pre-kids, and not to say that having children and not having children is going to define how successful you are or busy, but from personal experience, I was a very organized, productive person pre-kids, but like I sat on my ass a lot. I don't know how I had so much free time. Anyway. What I would do with that much free time now. Woo. Okay. Documented journey. She said, my husband and I are planning on moving across country. Oh my God. I didn't know that. That's very exciting. And I'm excited for the new adventure, but nervous to meet new people. I'm only nervous because I'm afraid they won't like me. There is no reason for people not to like other people. Honestly. Like, I don't know. Everybody has something unique to them. First of all, you're like a wicked artist and you have all these cool talents, and it's like that in itself is really cool. So I think it's like, is the word assimilate? Like, don't lose your identity in when you're meeting new people. I think that's really important. Like, keep what's cool about you and don't feel like you can't, what's the word, like body language here, like boast about some cool things that you've done or interesting skills or attributes that you have as a person, because it's kind of like a job interview, and consider it like dating. Seriously. So if I meet someone and I'm like, hey, let's go get a coffee, I'm gonna be on my best behavior. I'll maybe like jazz it up a bit, put on a nice shirt. Like, I'm not talking about going on a coffee date with a man, like, you know, just meeting a friend. And think about neat things that you could talk about and experiences you've had, and and then what you do is you find a common denominator, right? Like, what's something you both have in common, and then go from there. And recognizing that friends fall into different categories. You've got the wine night friends. You go for a girls' night, you have a little wine, little appetizers. You have friends you can go for walks with, maybe friends you work out with. And that one friend doesn't need to fill all of those categories. I have lots of different friends, and I used to struggle, like, did I need one super best friend? No. I mean, it's great if you have it, but I think because I've moved so much in my life, that's very hard for me to manage, because I do believe that friendships are based on proximity. And so if you're far from your best friend, it's going to be hard to maintain that. You know what I mean? Let's see. So documentary, she goes, I also agree with Alice. I struggle to find my tribe. I'm definitely a loner, and I'm so glad I found my husband, because he and my kids are my people. Totally. And I also just think, like, that's okay too, right? Not everybody has this burning desire like me, which is like, I need people to live. Like, I need to like float around and be social, and I love to laugh, and I love to just be out of my house, you know, like I'm here all the time. So I need to leave and like be social. I think it's okay to find love and happiness within your people. But I also think it's important to find it in other people too. Like, I'll give you an example, and this kind of makes me a little bit sad, this example, and I hope they don't mind me saying it. But so my mother-in-law, who we lived with, my in-laws, for a little bit, I love them so much, and like they're so special to me. I just want to, anyway, I don't see them enough. Anyway, so we were talking one time, and it wasn't even like a serious conversation. It was like, there was a movie she wanted to go see, and I was like, you should go see it. And she goes, well, I want to go with Romeo, like her husband. And I was like, well, what if he doesn't want to go? Like, you could just go with your friend, or you could just go by yourself. And it was almost like, well, no, that's what they do. And I was like, okay, but like, what if he, I don't know, isn't here at some point, and you're alone and you have to do things by yourself? Like, I think it's important to find the confidence and the fun in life with other people as well, because life is constantly changing. And I don't ever want to like send a message that things happen and you're going to be alone. Like, no, but I just think you just don't know what next year will hold, or the year after that. And I think when we place so much on other people to bring us confidence, not confidence, but to bring us joy, to bring us entertainment, when it's always based on other people, it's going to be one hell of a shock if you ever have to rely only on yourself. So I think I think you can have both things. You can love having date night once a week, and you always do that special date night, but you can also like have me time, and those two things can run, what's the word? Concurrently? No. Do you know what I'm saying? Like at the same time. And you can be happy with both setups. I hope that makes sense, the message I'm trying to share. Bear with me on live videos. I don't get to edit out the things I think sound dumb later. So, let's see. Oh, Marie, I'm so glad you could catch this live. It's kind of fun to go live. Let's see. The one, I have a hard time putting myself first and letting my other chores slide. Yes, chores. Here's the thing. Those chores will also be there next weekend. They're never going anywhere, but time does slip through your fingers. You can never get that stuff back. So I think, yeah, I get super annoyed when things are messy. I could not even like think straight on Saturday because my house was in such disarray and I had work to do, and I was like, I can't do it because it's so untidy. And that's something I have to work through. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm cleaning for an hour before I do my work. And that sucks because I had other things I wanted to do that day. So I get it. But I also think that we have to like work on that, because why does it have to be so perfect all the time? Who are we trying to impress, you know? But then, of course, on the flip side, take pride in your home, take pride in the chores that you do. But I think we can be lenient here and there. Document a journey. It's like dating. I know, it really is. It's so fun. Let's see. Our family channel. My first time actually catching a live video. Yay! I'm so glad. Yeah, I noticed I'm kind of bringing them back. Like, I really enjoy doing live videos and talking to you guys. And it's kind of a fun, sneaky way for me to get a video in too, because I don't need to edit it later, which is nice. But I also think when we talk about these types of concepts, it's nice to have like your immediate discussion, you know, like right away. Samantha, if you spend your time trying to please everybody else, when will you find time to please yourself and your family? Life is too short. If people don't like you, they can move along. Exactly. And, you know, to that point, when you are making new friends, you will likely meet people that like, it's just not going to work out. Just like dating, mind you. That was a long ass time ago that I dated. But, you know, like when you are meeting people, it's like, I don't really like the way that this happens, or this is just, we're just not vibing as we should. Totally okay. Doesn't need to be a big deal. You just don't need to hang out with them anymore, you know? Well, hello. Luz Lopez Pinto. Just want to say hello. Hi. Jennifer, so happy I made it. What a start to Monday. Oh, awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, I like Mondays. I don't know when I started liking Mondays, but I really do. I just love, probably because I love what I get to do here online, so I enjoy working on it. So coming back to the loneliness element, and then we'll jump to a little bit about the book. I guess what was interesting, or I suppose I can merge the two concepts. So we did read this book, guys. It's called The Great Alone by Kristin Hanna, and I finally joined Goodreads. So if you want to follow me there, not like I actually know what I'm doing over there, but I'm there now, AmandaMuse. But this was like one of the best books of 2018, and I have to admit, I read this. So if you catch the first book review, that was Educated by Tara Westover, a memoir. There was a lot of similarity. So it was a heavy read. I'll tell you that much. It was a little bit heavy, and I won't give you any spoilers in case you want to read it, but themes that came out were being a child in a family where they don't have their shit together. Okay, and so that was a lot like the Educated book. First of all, I should say, have you read the book? And if so, did you like it or didn't you like it? And what didn't you like it? What didn't you like about it? Leave me some comments below because I would love to know. I found it was a heavy read. I did not read it as fast as I read Educated. So I kept having like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to read this book. And I would come back and I would read it. So you're with, like, you have a child who's in a family dynamic where the parents have a really unhealthy relationship. So that was really icky to read about because, I don't know, I just feel like as a mom, you're like, come on, like, I expect more of you. Like, take care of your child, you know what I mean? Like, I was going to say children, but there's only one of them. Yeah, you just, like, take care of her better. Be better. Like, you just want to, like, yell at them through the book. But if anything, it brought up the subject of, like, a child in that situation and, like, the loneliness that children can feel when they're in a family that like doesn't really have as much, like they don't have their best interests at heart. They're not really concerned about her well-being, really. The mom definitely has some, it's like a different type of relationship. It's a little bit mom/sister relationship. Documented Journey was saying, she read both books, Educated and this one. Couldn't get into it as much as Educated. Same. I couldn't. Jennifer was saying it was a fantastic book. Fantastic book. I will say something that I loved about this book was, holy guacamole, reading about Alaska. So it takes place in like the mid-70s, and Alaska, where they are especially, it was like very much like uninhabited. There wasn't a lot of people settling there yet. But wow, like the power of Mother Nature overwhelmed me at some points. I was like, I don't like it. It's too much snow. Like it kind of gave me that similar sensation of, did you ever watch the movie Tsunami? Horrifying, by the way, because I was living in Southeast Asia post-tsunami when I saw that movie. I don't know why I did that to myself, but it was very horrifying to watch. But it was that sensation of like, wow, we think that we're evolved and we have all of these tools that can help us, but if Mother Nature wants to wreak havoc, it's going to happen. And I felt like that with the snow and the cold and the lack of electricity. And I was like, oh God, I'm so grateful to be in my warm bed with my heating pad right now. Like, it was intense. Cheryl was saying she's on the wait list for her library's e-copy. Oh, awesome. Yeah, it's really good. Again, I'm not going to give spoilers because that's no fun. Stand back. Need a little sip of water. So there's definitely like that. If you've ever been, in a house with families that the parents are kind of dysfunctional, there's going to be some like you feeling like you can relate to it. That said, there's a little bit of like, somebody had said you should like a trigger warning for people if you've ever been in a domestic violence situation. Note that for this book. So if you feel triggered by that, I would not recommend reading it. So that was hard to read. The other part of it that really shed some light was the topic of mental health in people who have served in wars, soldiers, that kind of thing. I don't know the right term, but just done that kind of stuff. This basically, the father had been to Vietnam, and it was pretty horrifying. Pretty sure he had like PTSD. I think they spoke about that, and unmedicated, and it was just like, it's like you felt it. You know, you've seen the movies where they talk about that. You hear the horror stories probably from people in real life that have experienced PTSD from war and traumatic experience. But to actually feel like the child watching your father unfold or come apart, unravel, that was pretty horrifying. And to feel so like you can't do anything about it. She had no power, like to take her and just uproot her and move her to Alaska. What? And the loneliness. So the reason it's called The Great Alone is like you're literally alone. So the neighbors weren't that close by. There wasn't like electricity, and it's dark like half the year, right? So in the winter months, there's like no sun ever. And it was just, it was hard to read. It was really hard to read. And maybe that's why I didn't whip through it as fast, because it was like heavy. So I had to put that down and like, take a moment to feel grateful for my life. No kidding. Yasmin was saying sometimes you can feel the cold just watching or reading something. Yes. And then to think it was like the mid-70s. So they didn't exactly have the right or all this like advanced technology with winter clothing and things. So that was like a bit painful to read. And yeah, so, okay, carrying on. So that was that, the child part. I felt that pretty hard. You felt her pain. You really felt it. I find that this particular author, I haven't read anything from her before, although I did a quick little, I was checking to see what she's done, and she wrote the book, or the potato, what's it called? The Potato Peel Society? There's a show on HBO. Where is it? The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Society. So I didn't know she wrote that. At least I'm sure she did. Oh, wait. Did she write that? No. They were talking about stories. Oh, I think that's wrong. Never mind. I shouldn't have said that. I think they were talking about stories like that. Okay, carrying on. Moving on. Okay, so there was that part of it. Alaska was beautiful. It makes me want to go there, honestly, in the summer. And then I think the part where I was like wanting to talk about the loneliness was like, there is a shift in the story where the young girl becomes not as young anymore and really starts to believe in herself and get that confidence to make a different life for herself and to make different choices and to not let life happen to her. There's that similarity with the Educated book. So I very much enjoyed that. And I enjoyed how she just stopped letting life happen. And I just said that, but I'm repeating it. But that was very moving and powerful in the story. And I loved it at the end. It wasn't a perfect ending, but it was a nice ending to the story. So that was enjoyable. But then coming back to the mental health thing, just to kind of finish that thought, was it really made me aware of how serious that situation is when like, I know how serious it is when people have undiagnosed and untreated mental health issues, but so much so from the trauma of war and PTSD and that kind of thing. Like, that was a lot. So I'm grateful for the leaps and bounds we've made culturally to be more accepting of people and to help them get treatment. But I think that there's a lot of people who still are not getting treatment, and it really highlighted that for me, and to, you know, be more sympathetic to people that are going through those hard times. Yeah. And then I guess the part I wanted to kind of loop back to with what we were talking about today, with being lonely and feeling loneliness, being okay with loneliness, because there's different degrees of it, is like, I think the first part is recognizing when it's good to be alone and I'm like loving this loneliness life kind of morphs into this loneliness is becoming a bit of an isolation situation, and I'm retreating from life and I'm struggling. So like, recognizing that, I think, is a very important element. Sometimes that's brought on by seasonal types of mood changes and depression, and could be so many variables, but I think it's like that self-awareness. And if we're having a hard time like being aware of those situations, I think it's important to have people in your life that you will listen to if they come to you and say, hey, I've noticed that maybe we need to make some changes here, and to be open to that type of feedback. I think that's a very important first step. And then another thing is, like we were talking about, like putting yourself in new situations, and it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, you might be nervous AF, but nothing new will come from doing the same thing over and over again. You know, if you wanted like a crazy promotion, if you want a new job, if you want to, I don't know, just make a new friend. Like, you just have to pick up the phone or send a message or an email or a text, or like, you got to put yourself out there. So it's going to be painful and a little awkward, but just jump over that hurdle and keep going, you know? And the more that you tackle that fear and overcome that fear, the easier it gets, because you'll start to believe in yourself, right? If you've never spoken to somebody new and never made a random new friend, then you don't know what the outcome is. But you do it once and you meet an awesome person, you're more likely to do it again, because you kind of know, well, I've done it once and it worked out. Let's try it again. You know, you just keep going. And I think the last thing I wanted to leave you guys with is just that life is always changing. You know, like, nothing stays the same. And sometimes that's shitty, because sometimes your babies are super cute and you want them to stay adorable and like toddler-like forever. But then you realize that, oh, there's actually some hard parts about that season of life. And as things change, oh yeah, life gets a little easier. You have a little bit more time for yourself. Oh, you're going on date nights again. Like, there are nice things from change, but that also, if you are in a more difficult, lonely space right now, maybe you're feeling lonely in your marriage, maybe you're feeling lonely because you hate your job, or you're just not where you want to be financially, or even like it's not where you want to be living, you know, just know that it's always changing. And so a year from now, you might look back and be like, wow, I was in a bad place and that was really hard, but look how far I've come in 1 year. And, you know, there's this whole comparison thing that happens online where, you know, we're so quick to like look at everyone's awesome days and perfect moments, filtered AF on Instagram or wherever. Not everybody's filtered, but you know, even myself. I'm not showing you when I'm having heated discussions with my husband online. So you're looking at people's perfect days and you're thinking, wow, that's never going to be me, or I'm never going to get to that place. But the point is like, you just have to do one thing a day. Just put one foot in front of the other, one little step. And you just keep trucking along, and little by little, you're going to start getting to a new place. So that's my message today, without being too ranty. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this little chat. Let's see. Fatma was saying, hi, Amanda, can you suggest your favorite Netflix shows for me? I know it's out of the subject, but you know a bit of fun is always good. Ooh, what am I watching? I'm not watching any. Oh, you know what I like on Netflix right now? You guys know I don't prioritize TV because I have no more time in the day. I'm trying to read. But I crack up at Nailed It. Like, Esme and I do impressions of Nicole, the host. I told her that I should like drop her off at school and be like, go to school, go Like, you know how she just is so funny? Like, goodbye. I can't. She's so funny. If you haven't seen the show, you're going to think I'm insane, but go watch it. It's like a cooking show with people who are really shitty cooks and trying to like recreate things, but I die. Laura was saying, it doesn't matter where you are nowhere compared to where you can go. That's beautiful. Oh, I love that. Exactly. You just don't, and you'd be surprised at what you can accomplish. You know, you'd seriously be surprised. Like my own little engine that could story about if you could peek into my life when I was 12 years old and where my life is right now, you'd be like, no, not possible. Like a lot has changed, you know? So it's possible. Brittany was saying, people are put in our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. This makes so much sense to me. We have to put our people in the right categories. Absolutely. My dad and I have always said that there's like the 24-hour friend, the 48-hour friend, the 2-hour coffee friend, and you can fit into different categories. And I think in that term, same like what you're saying, in terms of life cycles. I have a friend that was very near and dear to me when I was in my mid-20s, but we're just not friends anymore. Like life just kind of changed, and I value that time I had with her, but life changes and friendships ebb and flow, you know, and you never know when you might circle back. Marie was saying, I saw your Instagram recently and you're killing it. Thank you. And then Modern Mom for Life was saying, some of the best outcomes came from me deciding to step out into the most uncomfortable situations. Same girl. One little story I'll leave you with and then I'll wrap it up here. So you guys know that on YouTube, I'm very fortunate to be able to partner with brands, and I work with some amazing, amazing people. However, not everybody has that privilege to do that. Now, when I came back to Canada, I was like, people are making an income off of this. I don't know how, and I need to figure this out. But I also have like a 1-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, and I don't know how I'm going to do this, right? So I had saw that there was this event happening in Toronto. And I was like, I should go to this event. I had nobody to go with me. I was so nervous. I was probably getting a little bit sick, and I just didn't know what I was doing at that time. And but I knew that I had potential. So I went, and the whole time my stomach is like, just like rumbling. So I get there, and you guys are probably, some of you have heard the story. So I get there, and at the time I had made acquaintances with Estee Lalonde, who's a very successful YouTuber, big numbers, right? Like over 1 million subscribers, but I've known her since she was at like 30,000 subscribers. Long story short, I get I talk to her, but I'm feeling so like a fish out of water because I'm so much older, it felt like, than everybody there. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know who to talk to. So I'm talking to her. I got so nervous that I threw up right there in front of everybody. I've never been so horrified in my whole life, because then she says to me, oh my God, are you pregnant? And I was like, oh my God, am I pregnant? Like I had a 1-year-old at home. It was like a series of ridiculous events, but I will say this. I put myself in that uncomfortable situation. I embarrassed myself. I was so embarrassed, but I made a contact there that eventually got me represented by a team of people in Toronto, and now I have a job. Like I got to make a living off of what I do online. So I guess the moral of that story is do shit that scares you and do it more often, and enjoy your lonely moments, because you never know what you can, just find out and discover about yourself in those moments. All right, guys, I love all your faces. I hope you have a wonderful day, and that's it. I'll see you on Thursday, by the way, because I've switched my upload schedule from Mondays and Thursdays, just because, life. And there's a new podcast out. The first episode was out on last week. There'll be another one on Wednesday. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.